Terra Papers 2, Part 2. Enlil has the revenge on Ea. He finds out that he's doing these secret societies, so he has his own geneticist scientists, which have learned about the hidden secret societies of the church that Ea had with his Iesus. And the Enlil loyalists created their own church, and they confused the beast, and they caused dissension, confusion. The false Iesu words no longer was able to have Adamus communicate with each other, and so the false Iesu smiled and the true Iesus wept. So in comes Ra. Ra's takeover is successful because he always wanted to overthrow Enlil and Ea. Marduk is the son of Ea. He became the only sun god, Ra. The Sheti lizards reprogrammed the subjects on Eridu, and also the Syrian families, the royalty was also reprogrammed, and they gave allegiance to Ra. So history's changed, our minds are reprogrammed, history's erased, all the statues have been changed. Ra has his own mystery schools for a purpose, to praise Ra from where all things came. This is Lucifer. All secrets of the galaxy came from Ra. So here's your new master coming in. The church, the Cherosh, was targeted by Lord Ra and the Sheti lizards as well. Ea's teachings became the Ra Legas, the Ra laws, the words of Ra, or the religious. Before all beasts of Syrians, they were subject and praised the Syrian lords and honored the Aryan queens. Now it was Lord Ra with the SSATA, the rebel queens. And they removed all traces of the mother goddess presence. Hathor used to be called Ninhursag. They changed all the names. They put in Isis. They used to have a good Isis. Now they have a bad Isis. They used to have a good Hathor. Now they have a bad Hathor. So they've changed mythology and all the names. The Sheti lizards were the original stonemasons, and the Henti cousins were also the cousins of the other lizards too. So if you look at the Egyptian glyphs for Freemasons, they have a symbol of the Hanu, which is a lizard. Okay. Page 8, the sun god Ra is the one and only god, and the Henti lizards become very powerful, and Ra has tried to take control away from the lizards. And the lizards actually overthrew Ra. It was quite easy. They just shut everything down because everything is now run electrically. So Ra is undone. He flees back to the heavens. And this is due to the electrical grid around the Earth, that we are not connected to our other star systems and ancestors. So the lizards' kings were now in charge. They controlled all the institutions, and they governed man. They played the role of Enlil, Ea, and Ra. Mystery schools were now only open to the stonemasons and their offsprings. The masons controlled the hidden knowledge of the universe. The Syrian descendants of Nibiru, the lords enslaved, the lords were enslaved and the birthrights were taken away. So now Nibiru, which is the Anunnaki, were the ones that pledged allegiance to Nibiru were the Iburu, the Hebrews, and they were treated as undesirables. Those are the ones that followed Enlil, also known as the Adapus before. In comes Moses. He's an Hebrew child, the Hebrew child. He's set adrift in the river and is found by a servant of the princess of the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh's princess raises him as his own. Later on, he gets trained in the mystery schools, the ways of the Masons. He's also taught to believe in one God, Ra. This is in Egypt. So Moses realizes later his true identity, that he's Hebrew. He's an Enlilite. He's a Syrian. And then he kills the guard who threatened one of the Hebrew slaves. And then Moses gets cast out of Egypt. So he goes into the mountains. UFO ships and lights blind him. And the Syrians want to work out a deal to get revenge on the lizards, as always is the case. And the commander says to Enlil that the Lord of the Word, which is Yahweh, will support him if he goes against the pharaohs. So the ships seek to free the Hebrews in Egypt. Moses and the Hebrews flee Egypt as death reigns on the pharaoh's people. There's laser lights, there's explosions, and then Moses and the Hebrews pass the sea. That's the parting of the Red Sea. The ships actually make it passable, and then later they let the waters fall as the Pharaoh and his warriors try to go after the Hebrews. as they go into the promised land. So Moses casts a bronze serpent. It's known as the it's known for wisdom. It's the symbol of it's the brotherhood of the snake. So it shows allegiance to Enlil and the snake queens. So he made a bronze serpent, and now there's an Enlil commander. He gives Moses 2 flat crystals, and they're the library in the history of the earth. And he was advised to put them into an ark. This is the Ark of the Covenant. It's a gilded box which houses the crystals. And in the ark, the crystals activate and they become communication devices. So the handlers of this ark, they short-circuited the box and the whole thing was destroyed, and it could not be replaced by the commanders. Moses feels responsible. He punishes himself, and he says he can't go on to the promised land when the Hebrews arrive. The UFOs are in jeopardy because the pharaohs are and his legions are attacking the UFOs. So they take off, and so the lizards are always trying to seek out the Hebrews, and also the Orion and Syrian ships. They leave, and what happens is that Moses and the Hebrews wander in the desert for. They find a little place to settle. The lizards give up on the Hebrews, thinking that they're going to die anyway of starvation. So. Remember, now you have Obama. He's coming in as the reincarnated Pharaoh, Akhenaton. You've got Lucifer coming in as Aton with the Nasara faction. And they're going to be blaming the Jews. It's going to be another Holocaust if you don't be careful, because they have front men in the banks, which are all controlled by Freemasons. So this is all the lizard controls all the secret societies. Right now, they took them all over. They had inquisitions and stuff too. So the Jews are the front men for the lizards, and the secret societies are actually always been in charge of this New World Order group. So you'll see this war coming in. Now you have different religions coming up. You have the Hinduism religion, India, and a caste system is formed with Hinduism religion. It has a swastika. It's to pledge allegiance to the Orion and the Syrian forces, which is this swirling star galaxy. So it's formation of the Aryan MG warriors. It's not Anunnaki. It's not the givers of life. They abandoned the Orion queens. They joined the Syrian forces, and they went out on their own into the mountains. They're the Aryans. They're the whites. They have their own mystery school, and they were once Orion. They once had the Syrian secrets. Sorry. So they are faithful Syrians. They decided to share their knowledge with the Masons in Egypt, and they promised not to challenge the lizards. But secretly, they are loyal to the Syrian star system. It's called, the Syrian star being is called Ashura. So the caste system has their high priests and the elite at the top. They have the warrior class underneath, administrators underneath them, and then the beast lead and undesirables underneath them as their religion, the Hinduism religion. Obedience and duties means that you get rewarded in future lives, which is a lie. And then future service to gods is the way of heaven, and there's no spiritual enlightenment. And this is people are always confused and misdirected, which is the way the lizards want it anyway. And remember, they have the swastika. Lizards aren't concerned as long as everybody's confused, and the more confused they are, the better off they are, because they feed off our energy. And the electric net is what keeps us in lockdown anyway. So once that net goes, we're going to remember who we are, and we will wake up. So, and I'll go into Shriner saying that the net's coming down, and a lot of the souls have been released. Satan gets 3 strikes. This is Sherry Shriner stuff. The Ascended Masters are really ticked at us. A lot of the Oregon warriors have taken down a lot of the UFO spaceships, which the media will say are asteroids or rocks, which is a lie. And right now, you know that the churches the fundamentalist churches are promoting the rapture. The churches are fundamentalist. They're Masonic. The Mormons is a Masonic temple, and Washington also is run on Masonic teachings. Peggy Kane says that Planet X is good. It'll rip the net off and give us the electronic shield. The sacred geometry is actually electrical lockdown for us. That's according to the Ascension's notes that I've posted on November the 18th, Canada Street News. So I've already said that Sananda, Sanat Kumra, Saint Germain, Count Saint Germain must be a vampire. It's a man that never dies. So these guys are posing as our saviors, but we've always given them the power. They feed off our energy, our chi. So and in exchange they become immortal, and we've been enslaved, and we just keep getting recycled into the system. All right. So, religious factions.